Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to, thanks for joining us today. I have Daniel with Backchannel Chat here with us, and he's going to be talking more about the apps on the platform that Backchannel Chat has. And just quick overview for those who are just joining the Edmodo Apps PD program and this group to test drive apps. This is a program that we've been doing with myself, Danielle Knudsen. I work as Developer Relations Manager, connecting teachers and developers together, and with current and prospective partners who want to develop for the platform. Liz Keller, who cannot join us today, she leads our PD program partnerships and works with teachers and developers alike as well. And I'm sorry she couldn't be here today, but she's with us in spirit. So Edmodo's mission is to connect all learners with the people and resources they need to reach their full potential, and that's why we wanted to put together the Edmodo Apps PD program, which will allow teachers to connect with the developers who are developing the educational content and games that you're using in Edmodo and in your classrooms. And our CPO, our Chief Product Officer, Nick Borg, and co-founder of Edmodo, was able to define this mission to connect teachers and developers together in a sort of professional learning exchange. And so I just want to briefly read that. So teachers know what works in the classroom. They're inventing new ways to connect with students every day. By bridging the expertise of great classroom teachers with developers who can create the tools that educators are seeking and conceiving, we think the possibilities are boundless. And so we're excited just to offer this program and to have our guest developers come and talk more about what they and how teachers are using these content and apps in their classroom, and just to share ideas and stories. So with that, I'd like to introduce Daniel from Backchannel Chat.
Thanks.
He has spent extensive time working with the e-learning branch of a major education department, and he's currently working with educators to build web-based solutions. But with that, I'll hand it over to Daniel so that he can tell you more about himself, and then get started.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that. So my name's Daniel. I'm the founder of Backchannel Chat. Like Danielle said, my background's in application development. The past 5 years or so, working with the local state education department. My role there is, designing and building some of their e-learning platforms. So I guess here that I'm really interested in working on educational apps. It's really inspiring, and it's great to work with teachers and students and classrooms and all of that kind of thing. Anyway, I guess one of the things that I took away from my time working with educators is that some teachers were using web tools like Twitter and.
Unmute your line. Press *6 or #6.
And I'm having a few problems with it. So I decided to put together this channel chat, which is a tool designed with educators in mind for the features that will help support them. So I guess it's probably worthwhile if I quickly discuss the concept behind what an online back channel is first. It mostly stems from its use on Twitter at some of the major conferences. So the idea is that participants are empowered to share their ideas and change the thinking of some of the speakers. The ability to be able to connect with a group of like-minded people, all sharing the same experiences, is really powerful. So the thought was, well, can we replicate this in the classroom? That is, can we create this experience of letting students in our class come together and discuss, what's being taught? Can the students, help explain things amongst themselves? Can we give a voice to those quiet students? Overall, can we just, really engage them? A really great medium for this at conferences. Is it the right medium for your classroom? So we sort of think that the concepts are pretty solid. There's been a lot of research around back channels. It's not a new thing. But we thought that teachers just needed a good tool to help them.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I forgot to screen share your screen. Is that okay if I do that now?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
You're all right. So I guess let's start by having a bit of a look at the tool. On the left-hand screen, I've kind of got two tabs open because it's probably easier to understand what's happening if I'm showing what a teacher sees and what a student sees. So on the left
Daniel, you again. I just can't see your screen. I gave you the presenter tool. So on the main WebEx application page, you should see an option to share your screen.
Options share my screen.
So if you look at the top left corner of the web application, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so on the left-hand side here, I've got a window open, which is a teacher view. On the right-hand side, I've got a student view. And I want to show the features as they come about, but just sort of keep that in mind. Normally, you just sort of have the one window open, you being a teacher. So let's quickly. I mean, it's a chat tool. We can type messages, and they'll appear in real time. There's no refreshing the browser. It all just appears and happens all live. So that's the general concept, I guess. So the left-hand side, I'm the teacher, so I get certain options, some controls, and another thing, being the teacher. The online users, so there's just myself at the moment in this test room. So as students come into the room, they'll appear in the online users list. Sort of mentioned this application's installed at a group level inside of Edmodo. So obviously it knows that you're a student, you're a teacher, and only people in your group will be able to join the discussion. So I guess let's talk about some of the problems that teachers generally experience with online chats. So the first problem is that the volume and the pace of the messages can become overwhelming. So let's just say you've set up a chat, you've typed a nice message like we are learning something today. You've given a bit of contextual message, and then 30 students go bam, hit the room, and they all say hello, and all of a sudden your message that was sort of directing the class is just gone. You've lost in the sea of student messages. So what we've provided is a simple room locking mechanism. So if we sort of scroll at the top here, you can see the little padlock here. Now that as a teacher, you'll notice straight away on the right-hand side the student view has now doesn't have a message input field, so students can't write any messages. So now, as a teacher, I can everyone's attention. I can get them to focus on the classroom at the front. I can give them instructions. I can type messages. Maybe if I'm presenting to the rest of the classroom, it's probably at this point that I don't want them sort of in the chat, actively discussing stuff. So we can unlock that again. Sorry. And the message, the input field comes back for them straight away. So you get the room, you give your instructions, and if you're ready, you can open up the room back up to the discussion. The other thing that you can do to help set the context of what the discussion should be about is to pin a message to the top of the screen. So if we pin this item, what you'll see at the top here, if I scroll up a little, you'll see that message is pinned to the top. So even as a student, I can see it pinned here at the top. So I can send a message. I can say, well, we're going to be learning this. I want the discussion to be focused around X, Y, or Z, or this is the lesson plan for today, kind of thing. And it just helps, again, just focus the students. So the main point is that any point in the discussion, if you want to take control, if you want to interject, make sure you remember about that room locking button. Okay, so we've talked about the controlling the pace and the flow. The next problem that teachers face is controlling the content of the messages. We can remove messages. Again, it happens really quickly across the screen, quickly be removed here. So if you're using something like Twitter or maybe to today's meet, you don't have those kind of features to be able to just remove messages. So, so if a student posts something that's a little bit off topic or it's not, helping the discussion, you probably want to sort of be able to remove it from the discussion. So we also have a profanity filter built into the system. So I'll sort of type thing a little bit. Sorry, I'm kind of with one hand here. So effectively, we'll try and get rid of the common stuff. Look, the filter won't catch everything. Students can be, very enterprising, when it comes to profanity and that kind of thing. It does catch the common stuff. And here is, you can take some actions. You can delete the message. You can see there. We can, go into one-on-one conversation with a student. We can, sort of other remediation action over it. So it's more about letting you know and preventing just the really silly stuff. And that we can, selectively mute a student. Again, we can come to the online student list. So, at the moment it's my student. I can click on the user settings here, and I'm given the option to make her read only. So if I click save, you'll see straight up she's read only. She can only read in the discussion. And that's shown red here, which gives me a little visual indicator that this student isn't able to participate at the moment. I can turn that back on. She comes back. We don't have any options to kick students from the chat room, like like what some other chat features might have. We think that the read only is probably a good way to go. That way, students can still participate in the discussion. They can still see what's going on, but they just can't disrupt it, and they can't, really distract all of the other students. So, Back isn't just about these text messages. So support embedding media into the discussion. So I grab a link. So I've got a pre-prepared YouTube link here. So I just copy that and just paste it into the discussion. Yeah, straight up that the video will load in place, and people or students, we can view it straight up without worrying too much about HTML or any of the complexities around that kind of thing. So I guess sample sort of scenario might be something like teacher come in, they might lock the room just to prevent students from pushing their messages apart. They might type something like, okay, can you please watch this movie, and we'll continue the discussion in, say, 5 minutes. And you paste the YouTube link in. Room locked. Remember, nothing's going to push it along. 5 minutes later, you come back, you can unlock the room, and you can sort of direct your discussion around the video or the media. Just support YouTube. We've also support a whole host of different URLs. So grab a Twitter link. We can paste well, and one of our is going to come up here, and it's all going to be styled up nicely. I'm sure. Yeah, there we go. So again, if you're sort of used to using Twitter as your back channel, but you might want to be able to selectively group tweets from Twitter, bring them into your chat room, have a private discussion. That way you're in control of who's participating in the chat. You're in charge of how the students are responding. It's not sort of out there in the public, but you can still best of both worlds if you like. So support Flickr and all of those things. If you just type in a normal link as well, say we type in Google, then it'll hyperlink all of that up as well. So nice and friendly to media and that kind of thing. And also upload files into our chat. This is a teacher-only feature again. So just clicking on the upload will open up a dialog here. Second now. You can upload from your computer, Google Drives, Box. You can even take a picture with your webcam if you like, all that kind of stuff. So uploading it, we'll put it into this files list here. So students can also see the files, so they can download them as well. So it's easy for them to share. What you can kind of do with this as well, if I quickly click a little link here to to insert into the discussion. So I've inserted that file into the discussion here. It's just a little logo, but you can see I guess what we're sort of providing here is the ability for you to be able to queue up your resources and to sort of inject them at the right time. So as you're discussing something, you might have an image or a PowerPoint or a Word document or some other kind of resource that you can inject at the right point in your conversation, so it's really contextualized.
Dan?
Yeah.
Question asked by Lynn Woods.
Absolutely.
Lynn's asking in the chat, do all the uploads or like embeds uploading of URLs and files, is that only a teacher feature, or can students do that as well?
Yeah, no, so students can do that as well, and there is actually a setting to turn that on and off. So if you don't want that to be available, we've got a checkbox which will check by default, which is auto embedding of materials. So yeah, the students can paste in the YouTube links and that kind of stuff and have them all come to life as well.
Okay.
But, no problem. Okay, so I guess as a teacher, how do you get feedback on what pieces of content a student finding the most valuable? A bit of a look here. We've got a thumbs up. So as a thumbs up, I can click the thumbs up and I can see quickly in real time, live, the people who have done it up that message. So what we can really do is, I guess as a teacher, you can use this in a couple of different ways, really. The first is pure positive feedback. Student writes a really great and relevant message. They can get a great deal of satisfaction, I guess, from knowing that other members in the class also agree. The way, I guess, as a teacher, you could ask a series of questions and ask the class to vote on a response. I guess the whole purpose really is to get some collective agreement on what messages are valuable. So as a teacher, knowing who's voted on which particular items is handy. So I can click on the Get Information, and I can see that both the teacher and the student in this case have upvoted this message. So it might give me some information to be able to action on. So if it's a question and I've posed different answers, I can see which students have selected the right answer, which ones have selected the wrong answer, that kind of thing. I guess while we're on the topic of handling content in the discussion, we do another mode that these rooms can operate in. So at the moment, if a student enters, is going to go straight across to everyone else's discussion. So I'm going to go to everyone. Now go into the settings again and select monitor every message. Now what's going to happen is you see these little tabs here. There's all pending and deleted. So what now as a student, I'll type my message again. So it's orange. Now what that means is that it's being held up for moderation. So now as a teacher, I see the orange and I get a little tick and I can approve this message. So I can tick that and now it'll get approved and sent to everybody else in the chat. Kind of held up in a moderation queue, if you like. So, I mean, this can be a lot of work for a teacher, if the volume of messages is high. So I guess it's probably, best to probably think about structuring your activity maybe in a way, looking to solicit feedback maybe in smaller quantities, perhaps break the students up into groups, something like that. But what it does give you, is the ability to be able to split the answers without that all of the other students haven't sort of viewed the answer kind of thing. So, like if you've asked a question, you can solicit the responses. You can see that student X has responded in a particular way. Student Y has responded in a different way, and that they haven't unless they've sort of stood over and looked over each shoulder, and you can sort of know where they're thinking, where they're at before you sort of publish to the rest of the group. I'll take off again. Okay, so it's sort of disappeared. So often you might want to address a student individually. So you might want to encourage them to participate a little bit more, or perhaps ask them to be a little bit more reserved in the room. You probably want those messages to sort of be broadcast to the rest of the chat room. So if I'm up to Sally, my student, and I click on the user settings again, I can select private message. So now I can say send private message. Now on the screen, so you can see the teacher's message comes up, pops up, so they're not going to miss it. And she can respond, and we can discuss it. It just sort of keeps the messaging out of the main chat room, so you can direct the student, have a conversation, and sort of know that it's just between you and the student. So, don't have the ability for students to send private messages amongst themselves. If I'm in the student view just here, I can send a private message to the teacher, so students can contact the teacher. Again, that's a setting that teachers can set up. I think it's on by default, so if we go in there, you can see, allow students to send private messages to teachers. We wanted to build a safe tool that teachers could really control what's going on. And we sort of felt that if students are sending private messages amongst themselves, it probably wasn't something that the teacher could easily control. It's sort of hard to inject yourself into a bit of a moderation, at that point, really. So we talk about Backchannel being an educational tool. Obviously, being an educational tool, we want to see the transcripts. So what we want is to be able to demonstrate or have evidence that students have achieved certain milestones. Perhaps it's evidence that a student isn't quite at the level of what's expected of a good digital citizen, or maybe it is. But in either case, we provide both a full transcript, which has got all of the unfiltered messages, all of the profanity, any messages that have been removed, and events that have sort of happened during the discussion. And a moderated transcript. So this is the transcript that's essentially being presented on the screen. So this has got all of the profanity filtered out. If you've removed messages, then they're not going to show up in the transcript. So it's more sort of suitable to print maybe later in review or something like that. Both of these are actually sort of in PDF form, and we've also got a web transcript, which is just the same screen again, just sort of in a web browser. So you probably think about saving your transcript before you clear the room out. So the clear room feature obviously clears all of the messages out. So there you might have about a particular topic. You're satisfied that it's gone well, and another day you might want to discuss another topic. Well, you can come in here and just sort of clear the room and start afresh from the next time. Sorry. So that I guess covers the control and the content aspects of the tool. Let's have a bit of a discussion about ways that teachers are using the tool. Actually, I just want to show a couple of other little features. So again, being an educational tool, you probably want to think about how are students participating in the chat. So we can come into the stats and we can see how much each of our students has sent to the chat room. So some of you might use rubrics that are based around how often people participate, what the number of and volume of messages is, and that kind of stuff. Just some quick statistics there to be able to help you out on that. We can also search across our chat. So back in time, back in history, we can search for a keyword and have all of the messages sort of come back up. So helps with finding things. So yeah, let's jump on some of the ways that we've seen teachers using this tool. Movies, that's been really popular. So the class use the tool while the movie is put on. So students can ask questions about the plot, the character development, without really distracting the other class members. So teaching, it's very insightful sometimes to be able to peer into what the students are saying and thinking. Using the chat during the movie, it keeps the room nice and quiet, so the students that are following along can watch the movie without sort of being distracted. So show and tell messages, or show and tell style presentation, sorry. So class can do some fact checking while the students are presenting. I guess it's really up to you how you want to make this style of kind of happen. On one hand, having students discussing and evaluating a presentation live, and in real time could be interesting for the audience. but it probably means that the student who's going to be presenting at in the classroom is going to be presenting to a bunch of students who have got their heads in their computers. So maybe the compromise is to use something like that room lock feature until the end of the presentation, and then use the tool to ask questions and present other supporting media or links or that kind of thing. I have some teachers using a projector to project the discussion up onto the wall as the students presenting. So I guess the argument there is that the presenter can more easily interact with the audience. You see that in the bigger conferences. I'm not sure how well this would work in your classroom. It's entirely up to you. It might be a bit of a temptation from some of the students to try out the profanity filter, that kind of thing. I've also seen teachers break up the class into smaller groups, and send them off to different parts of the classroom. The groups sort of use the back channel, for questions back to the teacher. Maybe they ask other questions of some of the other groups. The teacher then can broadcast some of the instructions on what they're working on or that kind of thing, or out to the groups. They can sort of say, okay, now it's time to come back to the class, and they can use the tool like that. I've seen some teachers use the tool for games. So one of the games that I've seen is a Who Am I kind of game. So you'll kind of have a set of facts already about a particular person. They might say something like, I was born in Hawaii in 1961, and then they'll continue to sort of type a new fact about the person until someone in the class guesses it correctly. I've heard of a teacher who's used the tool during tests. I don't think it was for a major grading test, but the theory was that he wanted to be able to see how the students would talk about the questions that were on the test. So just to give himself some insights into some of the areas that he might need to focus on, just to put an ear to the ground and listen to how they describe the questions and the answers and that kind of thing. Some after-study school groups, after-study groups, I should say. Sorry. Teachers feel safe knowing that the rooms can be moderated. We've got the transcripts available, so if any bullying or that kind of thing happens, we've got some evidence to help remediate that. We've got these in the Edmodo platform now, obviously, but if you're looking for a different kind of doing it, then the tool might work well for you there. Just to give a big overview again, just to reiterate my points. There was basically a tool for teachers and students. It was designed with you guys in mind. We've got the tools to help manage the pace and that flow of the discussion, which is sometimes overwhelming. Also, have tools to help manage the content and introduce those rich media into your discussions. So in the PD group, I actually posted a link the other day, which was a really good resource sheet about. I just drop over there, which was connecting Bloom taxonomy into the backend kind of concept. So if you've got time and you're interested in I guess the theory of backchanneling, then this is a really great resource, and the accompanying blog that goes with it is absolutely fantastic as well. So again, a lot of teachers sort of think about backchanneling in a couple of different ways. I guess what some of the different ways are, such as like what I've kind of described largely is what some teachers would call a front channel, in that the tool is kind of driving, but channeling is more about using the tool to help support what's going on in the classroom. So actually I'll post a couple of links in the next or so into our PD group, and that talks a little bit more about the theory around how some teachers are using it. This concept of a front channel, that's sort of a term that they've coined, where it leads the classroom activity as opposed to sort of a back channel that supports the classroom activity. I'll drop that in there later on. But that, I think we're pretty close to covering sort of the feature set here. If you sort of to go over again, or just a little bit.
There's some questions in the chat. I don't know if you can see it in a pop-up within the WebEx application, but I would like to ask Sandy's question. Sandy King asked, can you just give a demo for when you log into Edmodo, how do you launch the Edmodo app? And this may be different if you're demoing in your developer sandbox right now. So we want to switch unless you demo from the PLX group on Edmodo.com, just because the latest version of Edmodo looks different than the sandbox.
This is the PD environment. So I've dragged it and dropped it to our launcher bar, which is kind of new. But if we click over onto our apps launcher, we'll find Backchannel just here, and we can launch it off. And if anyone else is in there, I think I had a look before, and I think everyone might be set up as a teacher. So anyone else is in there at the moment. So we can see that it's already set up for moderation. So we can turn that off. Oh, there we go. I'll turn that off. We've got an image banner at the top, so if you wanted to personalize it or drop a picture at the top, we can do that as well. So again, just to help contextualize it.
Great. Lynn Wood also has a question. When you embed the chat in the Edmodo message stream of the group, can the students enter the chat through the embed, or do they have to go to the app to enter the chat room? So I think that she's asking, do you guys use the app URL to launch so that teachers and students can launch the app from the post stream?
No, we don't sort of have that at the moment, sorry, but it's certainly something that we can look at, yeah.
If anyone has any questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat right now, and Daniel would be happy to answer them. Good so far. Thanks, guys. And if it has any further questions, Daniel will be still available via the PLX group to answer any questions that you have, or talk about features or how you use Backchannel Chat in the classroom.
Absolutely.
Andy asked, once the app is launched, it's just ready to go?
Yep, absolutely, yep. It'll just load and, as as other people sort of join, you'll see them come online here. By default, there's some images which will show the user leave and enter events. So you get a bit of a little over here that such and such has entered the chat room or left the chat room. Obviously, if there's lots of people coming in, lots of people going, you can turn that off so that it doesn't become too distracting. But you have to launch, and you're ready to go.
As a student, if the students launch the app before the teacher does, can they start communicating, or?
It's up to you. So if a teacher's not present, if we've got this setting, teachers require a teacher to be present. So if a student goes in there, teacher hasn't already sort of in the chat, they're presented with that input field, but they can go through and they can have a look at the discussion that's already taken place. They can search, they can upvote comments and that kind of thing. And then when the teacher comes along, the chat room will open again. So again, it's sort of built around that safety kind of in mind. But if you're a teacher that you sort of your students and you want to empower them a little bit more, you can absolutely turn this off, and then students can come in and use the chat room as if a teacher was there, kind of thing.
Great. So do you have a mobile application for Backchannel Chat?
It's in development at the moment. It's probably still a few weeks away from being ready to put into the App Store, but it's certainly something that we're looking at doing.
Great. That'd be great. And I'd love to talk to you more about that, just for a developer relations perspective. But currently, the Edmodo app for iPad and Android tablets, latest update for that will not be supporting any apps but we are working hard to make that available in subsequent releases. I don't want to promise a timeline, but we're trying to make it possible by back to school, but we'll see if we just have to come up with some technical workarounds to make that possible. So work hard on it. Just know that, teachers.
Fantastic.
Great. If no one has any further questions, we can wrap up today's webinar. It's been great hearing about Backchannel Chat, and Edmodo, and I'm sure Backchannel Chat's interested in how you use the app in your classroom, but Edmodo's interested as well, so that we can provide, our support team can provide their teachers use cases, and you can also follow Backchannel Chat's community on Edmodo. So I'd recommend looking into that as well to connect with the Backchannel Chat team. All right. Any other information you'd like to share before we wrap up?
No, yes. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them in the PLX group or in our publisher community. So yeah, feel free just to drop us a note anytime. We're always happy to help out.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone, and I'll be posting the recorded webinar as soon as it's available. I appreciate you spending your afternoon and evening with us. So thank you again, Daniel, and we look forward to communicating in the chat group.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Danielle.
All right. Bye, everyone.